Ciao ragazzi e benvenuti a Pizza Talk. Oggi cercheremo di capire cosa sono i samaritani oggi, cos'è il samaritanesimo, può essere? Forse l'ho detto corretto. E lo facciamo con il nostro ospite Abud. Hi Abud, nice to meet
Hi,
you. Per
thank
prima
you.
cosa chiederò ad Abud di introdursi a voi, di presentarsi. So, Abud, could you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Sure. Thank you for having me, first of all. My name is Aboud Cohen, and basically, Aboud is Abdallah, so Abdallah Cohen. Some people find this combination of names weird because it's an Arabic name and a Jewish name. And this is because I'm from the Samaritans, the Samaritan community. People know it as that name also, the Samaritans. And I'm a tour guide, and I give tours around the Samaritan village here on Mount Gerizim. And I also I like to study, the history of the Samaritans, the Jewish people, the Holy Land, and yeah. So basically, that's my biggest passion. I believe we have a really nice story to share with the world. So I'm happy that you gave me this opportunity today.
Ok. Quindi adesso cosa sono i Samaritani? What are the Samaritans? What is Samaritanism?
Sure. So the word Samaritan is actually from the ancient Hebrew word or Hebrew word shomer. We believe shomer. This is like the shomronim, shomrim. Shomrim means keepers or guardians, which is referring to the keepers of the Torah or the keepers of the commandments. And when you say Samaritanism, really it's the religion of those people. And we believe that we are the what's left from the northern tribes of Israel, because there was basically two kingdoms in before 3000 years. There was two kingdoms in the Holy Land, one in the south, one in the north. And then we have basically the Judah kingdom, the kingdom of Judah, and the kingdom of Samaria, which was also called the kingdom of Israel. And what most people do not know is that the kingdom of Israel, this is where there was also the people who were called the northern Israelites. And many scholars today and archaeologists also agree those northern Israelites were the Samaritans, who today are numbered very little. We are almost we are barely 900 today, but before 3,000 years, the number of the Samaritans is believed to have been almost close to 1 million. Uh, but different things happened in the northern kingdom and different things happened in the southern kingdom. Different people tried to conquer those kingdoms. So, unfortunately, the number of the Samaritans basically decreased very dramatically across those thousands of years. And that's why most people really never heard about us. And we have a unique story. We have also a different kind of we have some differences in the Torah between the Jewish Torah and the Samaritan Torah. So, yeah, we follow the first 5 books of Moses. We only have the Torah. We don't have the books of the prophets and the writings. And we have ancient Hebrew, which is a different font, you can say, than the Jewish Hebrew, which is known to be the Assyrian Hebrew. And most people today heard about the Samaritans from the Good Samaritan story. I think I heard you speak Spanish.
No,
So
Italian.
Italian, sorry, which I believe you might say maybe Bueno Samaritano,
Buon Samaritano.
Bon Samaritano. It's a famous term right around the world, and which is referring to the story of a Samaritan who helped a Jewish person, and he was called like that. And then today around the world, anyone that does something good to a random stranger, people call him the Good Samaritan. But people don't know what's behind this story. So this is why I like to
Ok,
share it.
ok. Quindi quali sono le caratteristiche fondamentali del Samaritanesimo? So what are the main peculiarities of Samaritanism as a faith?
So, like, what are the 5 pillars of faith? Well, not five, but do you mean the basics?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I said 5 pillars. We have like 5 pillars of faith, basically, as in the Samaritan community, and they are known to be The first is the basically the belief in the prophet of Moses. Before that, of course, the belief in the God of Abraham and Isaac, right? That's the most important thing. So the belief in the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, the belief in the prophet Moses. He's the holiest prophet for the Samaritans. And then we have the belief in the Torah, the first 5 books of Moses, which Moses received on in Mount Sinai. And we have the belief in Mount Gerizim. That's probably the most important difference between the Samaritans and the Jewish people, because the Jewish people believe in Jerusalem. And of course, the last one is the belief in the Day of Judgment, which is believed to be, there's different beliefs about what is the Day of Judgment. We can talk about that later, but
Yeah.
mainly it's basically what most people say the Judgment Day, really. So.
Ok. Com'è suddivisa la giornata tipo di un samaritano a livello religioso? Cioè, quali sono le principali cose da rispettare, eccetera? What's the daily basis of a Samaritan? So, are there something you have to do daily or in a certain hour? Some food you can't eat, etc.?
So daily we have, first of all, we have 2 prayers. We have the morning prayer and we have the evening prayer. And we have also things that we have to remember throughout the day that we, for example, certain foods and certain purity laws we have to remember. So when it comes to foods, we can really eat anything as long as the Torah said we can eat, which means we cannot eat, for example, pig meat, right? From pigs. But that also means we cannot eat chicken or sheep that is prepared outside the community. So if I want to eat chicken or meat, the meat has to be prepared by a Samaritan. And why is that? It's because the way that we slaughter the lamb, there's a slightly different way. It's very similar to Judaism, but there's verses that we read, and there's the direction of the lamb or the sheep or the cow that is being slaughtered. It has to be towards Mount Gerizim. That's the traditions. That's how we keep the traditions. Like, we have to remember all those laws. So that's why if I go to a restaurant, if I go, for example, to Europe or the United States or wherever, basically I kind of become a vegetarian. Or we can eat fish. Fish is no problem. But there are certain things in fish, in the sea, that we are not allowed, like lobsters or crab or something. When it comes to purity laws, there's other things, like I'm not allowed to touch a dead animal, and then if I do, I have to, take a bath or shower. So these certain things I have to remember every day.
Ok, e ci sono altre differenze con l'ebraismo di cui magari non hai fatto cenno? Are there any more differences with Judaism?
So I mentioned the biggest difference is Jerusalem and Mount Gerizim.
Yeah.
There are a few differences in how, for example, we pray and in how we celebrate certain festivals, like the Passover festival, which was, by the way, 2 days ago. We have an actual sacrifice. This is the only sacrifice of the sheep that we have, because we don't believe that we need a temple or a tabernacle for this celebration. But the Jewish people do not have the sacrifice. For example, we have differences in how we prepare the sukkah, those fruits on the ceiling. We have that one difference. And of course, there are certain differences for example, in the Torah, the first 5 books, there's about 50 important differences, and there's about 5,000 small differences, like words that are, instead of present, they are past, or these differences, but they are important differences.
Ok.
Many similarities, but there are those differences. Yes.
Ok, la situazione attuale invece dei Samaritani come popolo e come credenti qual è? What's the current situation of Samaritan and Samaritanism?
So, for example, are you asking, like, what is the current situation of the community?
Yeah.
All right. So now the Samaritans are living on Mount Gerizim here in this. Like, I'm living at my house here on Mount Gerizim. There's about 450 in this village. The other half of the Samaritans, they are living in Cholon in Tel Aviv. They also have a small community over there. So 450 here, 450 there, like almost 900. And today we're really living nicely. Our economic financial situation is really nice, which allows us to have the opportunity to increase. Remember, 100 years ago, we were 150 people only. A lot of scholars were in shock that they thought that the Samaritans are going to vanish. And luckily, we survived. And now we're facing a few challenges here and there, like marriage, for example, can be a little bit tricky if you don't have, if basically the number of men to women is almost equal, but that doesn't mean necessarily that every man or woman will find the right person for them. Now they can marry from outside the community. Men can marry from outside, but the woman has to convert. That's why we married about 15 women from Ukraine in the past 20 years, and they learn how to become Samaritan. And but yeah, so far also political situation here, in the Holy Land, you probably heard it has not been really the best in the last year or two or three, but we are trying to be like a bridge of peace between the two nations. We even have both passports, Israeli and Palestinian. So it's very peaceful where we live in a sense. We have the city of Nablus near us. It's not the quietest, but where we live right now, both sides love us, and that's why we're living peacefully for now, and hopefully it will continue. So
Ok. Now adesso arriviamo all'ultima domanda. Let's go to the final question. Cosa c'è dopo la morte per il samaritanismo? What's after that for Samaritanism?
what's after that?
After that.
After death.
Death.
Sorry, after death. Okay, nice question. Sorry, I heard that. Okay, so first of all, you have to remember we have the Torah only the first 5 books of Moses. And if you go and read the first 5 books of Moses, the Samaritan 5 books, you will not see that there is life after death, like heaven. There is no place that we go to. There are some sentences that tell us that this person went back to God. Like, for example, Enoch. I'm sure you know Enoch. The Torah says that God took him back, right? So that's the common belief that we return back to God. What does that mean? We have different scholars. We don't call them rabbis. You can just call them sages, for example, who had those dreams, or you want to call them prophetic visions, right? That do imagine that after death, the person reunites with God, and that's the real heaven. It is not really necessarily a physical place where we go to. Is really that your soul will come back to God, and then that's where some controversy happens that I cannot really speak of a lot, but I will leave it at there. That the Torah didn't talk about heaven or hell, for that matter. Okay. Again, some of our sages did talk about going to heaven, but other sages will argue it's not a physical place; it's a mental heaven in a sense. But it's not a black place that we go to. It's not complete blackness. It's not. You see, I hope I didn't confuse your audience with this answer, because this is really the truth of it. So.
Ok, grazie mille per essere stato nostro ospite. Thank you, Abud, for having
You're
been
welcome.
here.
Thank you for having me.
Con voi ragazzi invece ci vediamo al prossimo video e alla prossima intervista. Mi raccomando, iscrivetevi al canale, scrivete qua sotto nei commenti qualcosa e niente, ci vediamo alla prossima. Thank you again.
Welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.